was Saturday like? There's such anticipation in the building. How did you see it play out from your perspective?
Honestly, I feel like the media hyped it up so much that it was, the first period, it was almost like, hey, let's just get it out of the way. And then, he said no, which is completely fine. The game didn't really call for it. So he left it alone. And then, obviously, he buries Bush in I think it was in the third period there, second period, whatever it was. So, I thought that was an appropriate time to ask. And, good on him for doing it. It's a big boy.
Where does he rank in terms of guys you've faced in terms of the challenge?
He's definitely the longest I've ever fought, for sure. He's like 6'9" or something. He's just really lanky. For sure the biggest guy I've ever fought.
What was it? What was your strategy? You just try to let him go first, and then you try to counter because of his reach?
A little bit of that, but a lot of it had to do at the beginning. I think at the beginning of the fight, I didn't throw a lot because I had to make sure I was holding where I wanted to, make sure I positioned him in the right spot. At first I think he had me strung out a little bit, so I had to be patient and kind of, get his grip off of that. And then once I was comfortable, I started throwing.
So you guys had a bit of a conversation in the box as well?
Yeah, he's a really nice kid. He talked about how the media pumped it up so much, and he's like, his two original six teams going at it, and all everybody was talking about was a fight. But no, it was cool. Honestly, it was almost cool to see because it shows that fighting's not dead in this sport. People still kind of get amped up for it and enjoy that part. So, he was seems to be a really nice, humble kid. Talked to him in the box a little bit, so he's going to be a menace in this league.
He was looking at the bench a little bit before the fight. Was your sense he needed kind of a...
Yeah, I would assume, yeah. His coach probably wanted him to take a break.
Yeah. What's the importance of tonight's game, Ryan?
Well, a team where we're, chasing a couple points back, and, they took points off us a couple times this year already, so, it's a huge game, I think, probably, and it's going to set the tone for the game in their building in a couple days. So, this is probably the biggest game of the week.
Does it set the tone also if it's a potential playoff kind of preview? Do you let that enter your mind?
Well, every divisional game with playoff teams sets tone. I don't think this division is set yet. There's going to be some movement, I think, and so you can potentially play any of these teams that are in the playoffs right now. So. You have to put your best foot forward. You gotta set the tone. You gotta play physical. You gotta make sure it's you're playing like a playoff atmosphere.
How are you feeling coming off the hit on Saturday?
Feel good.
Yeah.
Better than normal.
How did you see that play?
Yeah, I saw he's coming, but I doesn't have a time to protect it myself. It's okay, it's hockey. It's happened sometimes.
He's 6'8". Is it different getting hit by someone that size?
Pretty much same for everyone, but yeah, he's just tall, so tall. Yeah.
And was there any concern? Did you know Saturday?
Yeah, I think I feel normal yesterday, and yeah.
Prior to the hit, how did you feel overall playing? Excuse me? Prior to the hit, how did you feel overall like your game?
I feel good, yeah, and super nice to be wear with jersey again, Super excited and pumped.
Was leaving early just in case about making sure everything was good?
It's protocol, and nothing we can do. Yeah.
What's it mean to you that Ryan drops the gloves with him?
It's so nice for him. He's a good guy, good teammates, I feel good what we have with him in this team,
How important is tonight's game?
It's every game so important, every game.
How different is it? A similar system from the last time you were here? Has it been easy? You haven't had a full practice yet to get up to speed with what the Leafs are doing here?
Yeah, I think it's pretty much same system. Play aggressive, play fast. Yeah, actually, it's a lot of help me from Morgan because we play together. We still spoke each other. Yeah, it's easy to join for me.
What do you like the most about playing with Morgan?
He's unbelievable player, and good partner. He's so skilled, so smart, and try to help me a lot.
A bit of relief from your end, obviously. Lyubushkin's good to go here.
Yeah, for sure. Was feeling good after the game the other night, and feeling good again yesterday. Feeling good again today. All the protocols he was unable to get through on Saturday, he was able to get through yesterday and today as well. So if he continues to respond well after this skate here today, then he'll be good to go. I guess as it turned out, is a lot of the discomfort he was feeling was coming from some neck and shoulder issues that were causing some discomfort in the head, but they seem to got that settled down.
You didn't see a full game of it, but when he was there, what did you like about what you saw from your defense with him slotted in?
Yeah, it just looked like it was flowing well. And talking to Mike Van Ryn, he felt good just about all three pairs being able to basically play against anybody and being able to just let the guys flow out the door, and that the lefty righty pieces for Brody and Riley as partners seemed to help them having right-handed partners. So it was very encouraging what we saw for sure. And then Bush himself, I thought, despite the fact that he was working on 4 or 5 hours sleep and 3-hour time change and big trade and all these kind of things that had happened, that and no practice with us, that he stepped in and looked very comfortable.
Whether it's the Rangers Saturday or a couple against Boston this week, what are you hoping to learn about your team, or what are you going to be looking for against these tougher opponents here?
We're just no different for me or whoever the opponent is. We're seeking consistency in our game and our detail, our habits, and that has certainly improved no matter who our opponent has been. Liked a lot about our game the other night. So regardless of who the opponent is, that's what you want to see. But obviously when you're playing against top opponents, there's all those details are that much more important. But I think as we've seen over time, games against these types of teams don't seem to be issues for us in terms of being ready and being prepared and having those details. Those details. We want to have it consistently all the way through. It's a good challenge, a good team. Played them twice this week, so all these kind of things are unique. We've been playing, whether it was Arizona or Vegas. Like you've been, another team now this week will play twice in the same short time period. I think that in itself is good for this time of year.
There's a lot of talk about Boston struggling, but when you look at what they did last year and the first part of this year, obviously you have to be wary of them.
Yeah, they're an elite team. Boston struggling is teams barely being able to beat them in overtime or shootouts or whatever. They are in every single game. They make it very hard to play against them. So never an easy night.
The other night, you guys got a power play with 6 or 7 seconds left in overtime because of a too-many men call. My understanding is the referees would have had the discretion to call a penalty shot. Do you have any thoughts on whether you prefer a penalty shot in such situations with so little time left in overtime? Or
do I prefer a penalty shot over a 7-second power play?
Should
yes, I do.
A coach's decision at that point rather than the referee's discretion, which just wondering about from a rules.
I don't know. There are certainly scenarios I think where sometimes you go the other way. Sometimes you get a penalty shot in a situation because a guy's pulled down, and you may prefer a 2-minute power play depending on what's going on in the game. I don't know that you'd ever take it the other way in such a situation. My understanding of that rule, and I'm clearly not a referee or an official, so it's a question for them or the league, but my understanding of that rule as it pertains to the too many men on the ice is it's not a line change, but it's more so they just throw a 6th guy out there to get an advantage. I don't think that scenario necessarily is exactly how that rule reads in terms of being deliberate. I see it more as we have a very clear advantage, and they just send a guy out when nobody's even attempting to get off the ice, and that was a line change situation that they jumped a little bit early on. So I didn't even think of it as a penalty shot scenario in that case.
With Samsonov and Wall both coming off strong starts, what was the conversation like when it came to tonight's starter?
Really for us, it's just look. We got 4 games in 6 nights this week here, and we're going to need both goaltenders. So it's for us. It's just kind of about sort of playing the calendar and where the games fall and all of that. So we got 2 guys that we trust and 2 guys. Well, Wall's played 1 really good game, I guess 2 if you include just Marley's game, and then you got Samsonov that's been building some great momentum and playing very well, and then you got Wall who've got to continue to build starts and don't want him sitting for too long. So really it's just a decision for us based on the calendar more so the opponent or what's happening here.
question. You guys have had to bench Willie in the past or call him out in the past. Is it the same conversation each time, or do you have to change your message with him depending on the situation when it comes to that?
Every situation is different, and it's. So I probably wouldn't have been as sensitive to it the other day if it weren't the fact that we had the meeting just the day before. But we're trying to, as we've talked about different times, we're increasing the accountability for all of our players in these situations. Each situation is different. Each mistake is different. Some are well intentioned, and the play doesn't execute the way you want it to, and something goes wrong. In some cases, it's purposely stepping outside of the structure in the system, and that's to me what it was the other night. To me, that's different than a lot of other situations. So you're just kind of managing that as you go. But in general, there's less tolerance from my end on mistakes such as that one with William, whether it's him or anyone else. But like I said, a little more sensitive to it, given that I met specifically with that line about those types of things.